be Chris Ruby and Eloy Claudio.
Hey, I'm Eloy. I'm the mysterious one. Well, no, we're both mysterious at this point.
It's just me. I wanted to thank everybody for dialing into newmediadating.com. What we have going on today is a brief, short discussion just about proper etiquette when you begin a relationship with somebody and how you reflect that using social media sites. I have a friend, and she's going to be remaining nameless, but she's in a relationship with a guy, and she's been eager to kind of know what her status is. Now, as a guy, I know that usually about 4 to 6 weeks into dating is as long as you can stretch a female before hearing that, right? Eloy, back me up.
I would say so, yes.
And I'm assuming in any dynamic, whether it be male or female, it's the same thing. I just kind of know that 4 to 6 weeks, another human being wants to know, who am I to you? So, my friend calls me this morning, and she shares with me that she's dating a guy, she likes him, she's into him, but he's creating some kind of limitation on the number of photos she's allowed to tag him in. Now, background of this too is there's like a whole bunch of photos with him and other chicks. So she's feeling a little bit like, hey, am I not pretty? Why am I not in the photo? So my advice to her was be yourself. You know, you don't want to be crazy and be a stalker girl and put them all over. But you got to... I think she's telling me something, but I can't read the screen. I'm on video. So Eloy, what are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts on what exactly?
What are your thoughts on controlling the amount of photos somebody can tag you in or not tag you in on Facebook? For instance, you go out with a girl on a date or a guy, whatever you want to do. You're out on your date, you take some photos. Is that appropriate? Is that appropriate to share them on Facebook? Third, is it appropriate to tag them? And fourth, is there a limit to the number of actual photos?
I don't think there should be a limit to that kind of behavior on Facebook, especially if you're actually physically spending a lot of time with that person. I don't see any reasoning behind that.
Chris,
can you find a justification for that, Darren?
I was wondering Chris's thoughts. So Chris, you heard the story about my friend and her dilemma. What do you think about that?
Hi, Darren. Can you hear me?
I can. You guys have New York accents. It's cool.
Okay, I think, I feel sorry for your friend because I think that it's controlling and that you can't limit the amount of pictures of a significant other. I think if it's early on in the courtship process and you've just started seeing them, obviously that would be crazy to tag any more than, like 2 pictures max from your, first couple of dates. But if you're in an established relationship, this could symbolize a bigger problem, mainly being that you're dealing with someone who wants to keep their life private with someone else who wants to share their life publicly. And you have to decide if that will work for you or not, ultimately.
I think like anything else in relationships, that comes to compromise and understanding.
It's all about communication, right? I mean, if you have a problem with someone tagging your photos, you could discuss it with them, but you have to be reasonable about it. And make sure that they're okay with that. You can't just make random demands saying, don't do this, don't do that, because I feel like it. And then let them deal with how they feel with it.
But
absolutely.
But that is, Eloy hit it right on the head, communications. It's about being open. It's about saying, hey, this is something that's important. Where do we compromise and where do we... Yeah, it's a mutual decision.
Yep. I do, but then what do you do if you can't reach a mutual decision?
That's tough. That's a sign that maybe your relationship needs to overcome that communication hurdle before you can move forward anyway. Chris, I was talking with Eloy before we began this video, and we're talking about the main key to dating in social media is simply being yourself. It's the same person electronically, analog to digital, digital to analog, and that's where people get confused. Now, in the real world, if you're somebody who traveled around with a camera taking pictures of everybody because you love photography and you enjoyed capturing everybody having fun, well, that's part of who you are, and people generally know that before they meet with new media. You have a chance now with dating to check that person out and go to their Facebook page and say, wait a second, they have 5,000 photos in here. You might expect they would be somebody who would take photos of you. And if they didn't, you might be concerned about that.
Yes. Yeah, I think you should be concerned about that. I mean, both ways, right? Because someone could be using, I think from both perspectives. There could be the type of person that isn't actually trying to control you or your status by over posting, right?
Right.
And then conversely, there could be the person that is trying to control you by saying, no, you can't post anything of us. So I think it really works both ways.
I'm with you there.
I think it's unreasonable to come up with a demand in a relationship, whether you're talking about digital or in person, as Darren said, analog. Coming up with a demand without having a legit reason behind it. If you don't have a legit reason to tell someone, don't do this, don't let people know about us, then there's something fishy, there's something wrong. The same way that, take away the digital side of this. If you're in a relationship with someone and they tell you, hide, my friends are coming around, would you allow that? Would you just say, okay, and then discuss it later, or would that be insulting enough to make you really question the events that just happened?
Wow, you hit it on the head, Eloy. It's almost like you talk about the analog to digital, but almost more important for us to touch on is that digital to analog. People are going to quickly put on a wall some expression of their heart, or they're going to quickly update a Facebook status relationship. Would you run into Starbucks and yell, hey, I'm seeing this person?
No, never.
I'm of the belief that you should act on the internet digitally, from Twitter to Facebook and any other social media, on the internet, the same way you would act in real life, and apply the same rules, because the rules of relationship don't change because you're on Facebook or Twitter. An insult is an insult. Being selfish is being selfish. Just because Facebook is in the mix doesn't make it okay to be an asshole.
Exactly.
I agree.
So what do we say then? Communication, honesty, respect. Yeah, I guess the same rules that really make every relationship work are the same on the internet. Who would have thought?
Everyone has a reason for things, right? You might say, oh, I don't want you tagging photos because of this. That's where it comes to communication. But that's the thing. Just like in person, if you don't have a reason for what you're doing, if you were to hide your girlfriend because your friends are coming around, and when she gets out of the dumpster that you tucked her in, and she's like, what happened? You just tell her, because I feel like it, let's go to a restaurant. That wouldn't sit well with anyone,
It shouldn't ever sit well with anyone.
The question is, if you have some kind of strange rule that you, or not so much strange, but a personal rule that you want to adhere to in, on Facebook and digital relationships and all that, then at least have a reason behind it. If you don't have a reason behind it, then there's something you're lying about, something you're not disclosing. And
I agree, especially if there are older pictures up and the person refuses to remove them. It's a sign of disrespect and other problems to come in the relationship that they don't value your opinion, and what you have to say doesn't matter. And another sign is watch out for the chronic detagger, because someone that's chronically detagging you does have something to hide, and they are not, that enthused about showing you to their network.
Chris, let's talk for a second about that. Not only the chronic detagger, but let's talk about the chronic detagger first. So there is a dynamic that somebody, may want to control the amount of touch they have with somebody in the digital perception.
Yes. So what's the question?
Well, the question is, how do you handle that? Is that something that you handle with your own personal boundaries, or what do you say, chronic on tagger? Somebody, you mentioned that there was a guy you knew that just didn't like keeping anything tagged, anything on his wall. He would go through and groom his profile daily to keep it clean.
Yeah, we call that type the invisible.
The invisible.
12 different types of social media personalities.
Oh, don't give it all away. That's tomorrow's episode. But give them one. Give them one or two.
The invisible, yeah. I mean, it's like they have their social media presence, but they just have their name. They don't really have a photo where the photo should be. It's a question mark where their head would normally be, and don't have much on there, but want to show that they're there, but by not giving too much. And that can symbolize how they act, in real life. It's the equivalent of dating the unavailable or the ghost.
Yes. It again comes around to being the same. Now, I don't want to give everything away. This is just our first time, and I really snuck up on everybody with the video camera. They probably don't think I have it on, but I do. And tomorrow we're going to be coming back. We're going to be talking a little bit more in the whole newmediadating.com about the different personality types you meet online. And we're going to be coming here every day with just a few minutes to enlighten, entertain, and educate everybody about dating in the new media world. This is Darren and
Chris Ruby.
And a surprise guest, Eloy Claudio.
Thank you, Eloy, for joining us. And visit us at newmediadating.com.